Greetings to everyone wherever you are watching this at this moment. This is the concluding episode to the Royal Shrovetide game I went to witness in Ashbourne in Derby. For real, I think there was no need for another episode since the very first one I did served the purpose of educating and highlighting the genesis of football or soccer. But then I chanced upon something very wonderful which revolves around some of the dark secrets of football, and I reckon I must share this with you. So this is the hotel I spent the night in. It's called Elam Lodge. The ambience and everything feels great. That's a castle right there, and I really loved it. To start, I made a new friend at the Elam Lodge the night before, and we just hit it off like that. You know how guys are. He goes by the name Jake. He's a wonderful photographer who also came all the way from London to see the games. He's heard a lot about it, but haven't watched it live. He missed the very first day, so I became a sort of a narrator for him. So I gave him all the rundown. Afterwards, so to get to grasp quickly, we set off early from the hotel around I think 9:30 a.m. to the town center to start filming for the day. Apparently, there's a whole museum in the town center documenting and curating the history of the Shrovetide game. So we popped in, and it was there that I had some good historical teachings on the origins of the game by the curator of the place called Tim Baker. Tim is well an adept at what he does, and also doubles as one of the very few persons with the privilege of painting the balls used at the Royal Shrovetide game. So let's hear him. Let's go in and hear him out. And I really learned a lot from what he shared.
You know, and that's how it is a little bit, you see. But we've made ourselves slightly famous for it here, because we've allowed documentaries, Wild in the Street, things like that were all made. And you know, but there's nothing we can do. We have to just embrace modern times. It just makes it hard from the spectator's point of view, though. Yesterday we couldn't get close enough to see anything, and the players couldn't get in to play as they want to play. There's a lot of strangers in it, you know. But it's nothing you can do. We're aware of it. So it's certainly a baptism of fire. Because watching it on the telly is nothing like seeing it. Nothing at all. You can't get that feeling for it watching. I mean, we have films on all year long on Shrovetide on that TV, but it's not like being there in it or seeing it live. I was reading a newspaper article not long ago, and this guy said he'd come out, it was in the 50s, he'd come out the hug, and he'd said he'd smelled, well, they didn't use these words, he spelled poo, wee, BO, silage, bad breath, whiskey, but he'd never smelt aftershave. I thought that was kind of funny.
A sommelier.
He said everything, he never ever smelled aftershave in the oil. But he'd smell everything. So a lot of farmers, you see, used to play in those days, and it sounds really crude, but when you're in the river playing Shrovetide and you're busting for a pee, and you're wet anyway, you just pee yourself.
Pee in the river, yeah, exactly.
No, you don't just pee yourself.
Okay.
You pee yourself.
Yeah.
They just do that because they're wet anyway. They're wet through to the waist, so they're not going to get out. Oh, what did they quit? Yeah, they just pee themselves. You know, it sounds crude, but you know, that's a real.
The relief of some warmth.
Yeah, that's right. Then, you know, years ago, the old women used to be dishing out booze, whiskey on the side, you know, a little measured cup. This woman called Mrs. Chow, and she used to have a little snap fastening handbag. She'd undo this, and she'd get a bottle of whiskey or brandy or whatever, and a little glass, and she'd be tipping it in, and she'd be tipping it in the mouths in the jug underneath. All those wonderful things have gone now, but it's crazy.
Very crazy. So you said Workington and where? Orkney?
In Cumbria.
In Cumbria.
Yeah, north of this country. North, I think it's like just border regions before Scotland. It's in England.
Okay.
It's Cumbria.
Cumbria. Okay.
You can Google it and work it. Or Orkney. They see the good. It's a good thing for that. working Kirkwall in Orkney, they don't get a lot of
coverage.
outside people
Okay.
because it's an island and it's separated from the mainland of this country, and you've got to travel to the very northern tip of Scotland, and then you've got to fly or take a ferry over to Orkney, and it's a lot of hassle. And because they play on Christmas Day and New Year's Day, they tend to feel that people would rather be at home with the families on Christmas Day than so they don't suffer at all from.
Maybe that's to do with the size of our game, though. 3 mile pitch.
Yeah, there's
the
1.5.
Atherstone game's just one street, visitors wouldn't fit. Would they?
Atherstone's really.
It could be the location too as well, because as you're saying, that's quite far from here, and it's quite easier to get to Ashbourne
than it is to go to.
Exactly. Yes. So that could be another reason.
The huge.
Atherstone's was yesterday.
Exactly. But
But you see, in pagan times in this country, before people were Christians, Mass Street football started in pagan times as a pagan fertility festival.
yes.
So what they would do is they would, in the original days, they would sacrifice a maiden,
A maiden,
a girl.
a girl. Okay.
Yeah, and she would be willing sacrifice. People, people think in those days that people were dragged to the sacrificial altar screaming. They weren't. They were born for sacrifice, and they would sacrifice her, and then they would decapitate her, and they would play with her head, and whichever side of the village got the head onto their side, the goddess Ostara would bless the crops.
What's the name of the god?
Sorry,
What's the name of the god?
Ostara.
Ostara. Okay.
Yeah, and what they did when human sacrifice was done away with, they then filled a pig's bladder with blood, and they would play with that. And the custom was when they got the bladder onto their side of the town, they would ceremoniously knife the bladder, and the blood would fall onto the ground and fertilise their land, and the goddess Ostara would bless them. Now Workington, strangely, have kept that tradition going all these years, and at the end of the day they have somebody gets a knife and they burst the ball. But that tradition comes out of pagan sacrifice.
Okay.
So we don't here, obviously, but that kind of pagan view of it, so it's where it all comes from.
Okay.
The pagans brought a lot of things here that the church then nicked and pinched.
Yes.
I mean, it's amazing today that the goddess Ostara is, the church even kept the name and just changed it to Easter. But the original time was Ostara, and that was celebrated with eggs and hares, and the church pinch eggs and hares as well, and rabbits, turn them into little fluffy rabbits. But the goddess Ostara's symbol is an egg for fertility and a hare, because the hares are always sexually fertile around the time of Ostara. And those pagan symbols, I mean, everybody now puts Christmas trees and holly, and all that's pagan. There's nothing Christian about it. They've just been pinched. And so yeah, the goddess Ostara was what was celebrated this time of year. And the little balls on the second shelf, they're from Jedburgh in Scotland. That's a handbar game. It's more of a hurling a ball around. And they play theirs on what the church called today Candlemas, which is the 2nd of February. But in the old days, Candlemas was the ceremony of Imbolc, the start of spring, you see. So it's all got a pagan leaning to it. And it's very odd, isn't it, that a lot of these ball games that still exist today are in a vicinity or near to stone circles. We have Arborough in Derbyshire, which is only about 20 minutes away. Castle Rig is right next to Workington, and of course Orkney have the Ring of Clogher and the Stennes stone circle. So there's all this sort of circular stones, because the ball symbolises the sun. That's what it means, basically. And two sides of a community are battling for that sun symbol, because people worship the sun in pagan times, because the return of the sun brought their crops, their food, their warmth. It was the sun god, the element of fire, you see. So and a lot of people, and tribal people in Africa, still hold those mysteries.
We do in Africa.
It's all
this one I think I was telling you about it, right? In Africa we are very tribal, very tribal. But on top of it, what binds us is only one thing. That's religion. On top of it, what binds us is religion, either Christian or Muslim. But beyond that, if you want to go into it,
there was no Christian.
Pockets, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Pockets of.
People went to Africa, didn't they, and took their religion with them. And unfortunately, as it's happened all over the world, people were made to worship certain things. And it's like Haiti. Yeah. I mean, people were taken as slaves, weren't they, to Haiti from Africa?
Yes.
And they were given Catholicism, but in the realms and the lands of voodoo, the tribal religion is what they really had. No, and people give voodoo a bad press. Oh, they're sticking pins in. It isn't. It's an ancient religion. African religion, and worship spirits. Yeah. Spirits of the land.
Even in Africa.
Well, you have the form that you have yourself. Yes. And then you'll have the forms that you were made to practice.
Yes.
And it's the same over here. There was no one more.
It just amazes you how people fall out over it.
There was no more pagan than this country. It was. That's religion. All that is that. I mean, there was nobody more pagan than this country. And then Augustine stepped his foot in 526 on the shore and made everybody Christian. So it's just the way it goes. Some of us.
Well, all the wars have been religion and land, haven't they? Everybody has got the same goal at the end of it. They've got something to worship.
I mean, I'm a pagan. I'm not a Christian. I'm a pagan, and there's very little difference. I mean, I just ascribe to the old or the older ways, and they're just different names and different practices.
Yeah, like you said, they put the new stuff on it
on
to
top
make
of
it.
Yeah,
at the time it was like, look, it's.
If you want to let a religion to take over a country, you've got to keep what that country do, but just change the meanings of it. So the Catholic Church don't approve of voodoo, but they don't do anything to stop it. Because they know that that's what the African people in Haiti were raised with. So they'll go to mass on a Sunday in the church. And then the same evening they'll go to the voodoo witch doctor and do all their ceremonies up in the hills.
Yes.
So they do both, don't they?
Yes. Catholicism, the Roman religion kind of updates.
Like married between their culture or whatever, and then to give us something new.
Something new, But we've all got the freedom of will to choose whatever we believe.
Yes.
Thank God things like that have changed and we're not made to believe in anything now, are we? I mean, the church tells you if you don't believe in Jesus or the church, you're going to hell, but I don't believe in such a concept as hell, so I think that's just a church made up.
It's quite... There are some countries who have been very good at it. If I say good at it, like Ghana, where I'm from, Christianity and Muslims, we've been able to merge ourselves together properly. School-wise, whatever we do, whatever we do together, no issues, no whatever. But when it comes to whatever you need to do, they support you. Like, it was already 1 p.m. when we finished that insightful knowledge gained from Tim Baker, and this is a downer session, and the crowd have started gathering for the game day too. Then we bumped into this lady who was designated as part of a team to collect donations, which will be used to fix all public and private properties broken as a result of the game. Me and Jake offered some few quids, and surely it will be put to good use. Whilst waiting for the kickoff time, me and Jake met this young couple who said they were into the promotion of unusual sport. I asked for an example of such games and they said toe wrestling. I said in my mind, hey, why people they do things so what is toe wrestling? Up or downwards? Okay, alright. How was the game yesterday?
Bit of a tough one.
Okay.
I reckon we'll have them today though.
Okay, good. So who won yesterday?
Downwards.
Downwards won yesterday.
Yeah.
So you're trying to come back today, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Cool, that's fine. Alright, nice one. Thank you.
Yeah, Sam.
Alright. Okay, good. How about you?
I'm meant to be in school.
You know?
I'm meant to be in school.
You're meant to be in school, but it's not school time now. Upward or downwards? Upward or downwards?
Upwards.
Upwards, good. Nice one. Thank you. Okay, cool.
Yeah, no.
Alright.
today. Yesterday was very exciting.
Okay, yes.
First day.
Yes. And today too, we hope to see a good game today
But
too,
today
right?
the real people come out to play.
Oh, okay, yeah. I think Tim said that, right? In the morning, the real people coming out to play.
Real people can play.
Okay.
Yesterday was the foreigners and the visitors.
Okay.
Today is the people that want to make the score count.
Okay, the Ashbourne people themselves.
Yeah, they want to make the score count. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
That's why
Cool. So I want to ask, upper or downwards?
Donuts!
Donuts. Divided.
I know, I can tell.
Divided.
I can tell. Your mom is downwards, right? Oh, okay.
Well, we came here 10 years ago. So
Okay.
We're not local.
Local people, okay. All right, that's fine. That's
local
fine.
as it comes.
Yes. All too soon, it was game time, and we all gathered at the plinth, the converging point for the starting of the game. So that's Jake, shot my newfound friend Jake. Yes, that's him right there. So we waiting for the initial protocols and then for the games to kick in. And then that's it.
Of people driving through these areas and ferrying people around. I do appreciate this has always gone on, but if the road is closed, you must not go through. It's a local game
For local people.
and let's keep it like that. Look after it and behave yourselves. And I thank you very much. I hand you over to the boys to sing All Lang Syne and God Save the King.
Immediately the ball was turned up and the game kicked in. The ball ended up on this fence, and then you should see my face. I was totally shocked. I found the players, some of them climbing on these rails, trying to retrieve the ball from the opponent and then send it O's way. You know, it's just crazy. I mean, it's scrum after scrum. I mean, and then the game or the ball being moved from one point to the other. Just crazy. I think at this point it was the downouts that had the ball, so suddenly it was thrown in the air and then over a wall, and then all the players and spectators, everybody, tried running after it to grab it and then go. So at this point we're in the downouts territory, and they were trying to move it to their half. So as you can see, all the crowd and everybody moving towards the ball or going to see what happens next.
I don't know, I've lost track now.
That's the emergency or ambulance team also on standby in case of any eventuality or problem. Yeah, I came across this cat also watching the game from their windows. I was really surprised. It's quite funny how they all stood over there. I'm sure they might be asking themselves what's really happened. Just outside those cats' window was this scrum or a melee for the ball, as you can see over here. It's very crazy at this moment, and the ball is still in the section of downwards, and I think they had control over it at this point too. Then came the most surprising moment of the day for me. The ball was thrown out and it fell in someone's backyard nearby. Just watch what happened next. People had to scale the house to go grab the ball in the backyard. The house owner actually opened the door for people to go through the room into the backyard to continue playing. There was some damages, of course, but it will be fixed for them. Right out of the house's backyard, the ball ended up in this marshy area, and the scramble and search continues. As you can see, it was the players that were running helter-skelter to find where it is, and then to grab it and then take it to their goalpost. As you can see, there was one of the players that got stuck in the mud, and so people had to come to his aid. Nice one. The ball eventually ended up on this huge field beside the marshy area, and at this one I think it was the Apads that were gaining some grounds to trying to move the ball from the half and then to their goalpost in Clifton Mill. As one of the only few black dudes in the crowd, I usually had people approaching me for talks and discussion and all that, and then I came across these two men who spoke glowingly about Ghana and our football. One of them was in South Africa in 2010.
I saw your guys playing in the quarter-final of World Cup in Cape Town.
Ghana, yes. South Africa.
And I have a scarf at home, Ghana scarf. Because by then England had been knocked out.
Yeah, exactly.
Who going to support? Ghana. So yeah, we were.
I think we did well.
And we.
Is that Michael?
Yes.
We got.
Yes. He's from our country.
We arrived in Cape Town a few.
Game is still on in the thick of things, as you can see, being played in this river, and everybody is serious trying to grab the ball. After a melee in this area, this guy right here lost his phone and he was looking for it in the mud. anyway, he couldn't find it. It was already gone. So yeah, that's some of the dangers of playing Shrovetide football. We ended up on another field nearby, and at this point, your boy was gradually getting tired. Because let's not forget that I was also fasting at the same time and then trying to chase these energetic people around. Yeah, so.
Shrovetide football in Japan, and my teacher studied it too.
Okay.
And the teacher came here,
and then I came across this Japanese students who flew all the way from Japan to witness the game. They told me they're doing a course on the game as part of their studies back in the university in Japan. So it was one of their lecturers who had initially also witnessed this game, asked them to come to the UK to see it. Yeah.
Okay. So where's Lisa Porter? Where Lisa Porter? Where? Yes. I want to see Lisa Porter.
I'm sorry, I don't know.
Okay, you don't know. Oh, okay. Because I want one of the book. I want one. Book? Book?
I'm sorry. I studied this book. I'm sorry.
All right then.
The ball ended up in this gridlock, and at this point I was famished. It's already, I think, about 7 p.m. or so at that time. Yeah. So Jake was driving, so I joined him, and then automatically we left. This is where we left the game. Yeah. But on leaving the Ashbourne town, my mind went back to two things. One, a debate I once had with a friend on Facebook regarding the origins of football and rugby. I said football came out of rugby, and he also said nah, rugby came out of football. After this Ashbourne game, I think we were both right. I was right by way of how the game was played, because it looks more like the modern game rugby, and he was also right by how the game was called, because during these times there was no any game called rugby. They were all called football. So that's one. And two, in our ride back home, I saw many farm fields used in rearing animals, predominantly sheep or rams. Then I understood why Derby County Football Club has a ram in their logo. Rearing of such farm animals is mostly what people in Derby Enclave do. That's exactly how it is done, connecting legendary town brands to its root. All too soon, this is where all the Shrovetide action ends. In our next episode, we shall look at the next stage of football, basically how it left its medieval roots, and most importantly, who took it from Mass Street and shaped it into something better. Watch out for that, and if you haven't subscribed, please kindly do so for me, and if possible, leave a comment or question, and I will gladly answer you. See you on the next episode. Bye bye.